Hi, Sumtruth. This is a video response to your video, what law would you change? Now, I originally thought about this question quite a bit. I live in Canada, so the laws that we deal with are not the same as the laws that deal with the states. But I think that, for the most part, they're similar enough so that my answer should still give you some idea of what this generation thinks is justice or just. I think that Canada should sign some international declaration of human rights. Oh, what's that? Yeah, we haven't signed that kind of agreement. I don't know why, but we tend to boast about how cooperative we are with the international community, and yet we don't really put our money where our mouth is. We don't really sign those kinds of agreements. And, well, what you gonna do? So, that's the one thing I would change. Another thing I would change is Canada kind of considers immigrants second-class citizens. We also kind of consider Aboriginal folks second-class citizens. There's quite a few arguments made that we don't really respect equality as much as we should. And in reality, that's what I think, for the most part, Canada stands for on a position of what justice is. Justice is fairness, justice is equality, justice is equal opportunity. Doesn't matter what race, what creed, what gender you are, you should get the same sort of positions as anyone else is. It should be decided only on merit and nothing else. And I think equality is smart enough to realize that we tend to see merit attributed to people that look like us and sound like us. So equality also strives to settle those disputes. And I think the most important part to remember is that justice is, like, you talk about laws, like, okay, well, justice. Well, justice far extends beyond that of lawmaking. Justice is socioeconomic policy. Justice is flat-out economic, monetary, or fiscal policy. Justice can take many different forms, and it's not just a matter of what specific laws we have. An injustice might be, well, some people consider not being able to smoke weed an injustice. Well, I might not consider that an injustice, but then again, I don't really partake in that kind of activity. Fairness is also a subjective term. So what I find as fair is what might not seem as fair to other people. So those kind of concepts might be flawed, but yet I still think that those are the best concepts we got. Because they're flawed, we can question them. Because we're the ones that make them, we can argue with them, and we can try and change them if we don't agree with them. That's the whole point of having, I guess, a democratic society. Although that's not really what happens, it's more just like an ideal. The reality of the situation is that it's special interest groups that really decide what goes on. I mean, I'm just describing what I think would be an ideal society, or what is justice. I'm not trying to say that's what we got right now. And I think by signing some Declaration of Human Rights, we get a little closer to it, but then again, that's just my take on it. It's not really, I don't really think that will really change anything. Now, there it is. There's my answer. Right. Show's over. Well, no, because I think I saw something in your video that you're going to get to. I think this was all just an attempt to lure responses in so you could pull some sort of natural law argument. Little Birdie told me that you were a theist. And if you're a theist, you're probably going to suggest that the law of God is higher than that of man. And that the laws that are set in stone are the ones that we should base ourselves off of. And I can see where you're going with this, because obviously, like you said in your video, you said each law that you might change might have a domino effect on other laws. Well, that's correct. That's exactly true. It's precedence. There's all sorts of things that go into it. Precedence is the only thing that comes to mind at this point. But yeah, you start up a constitution. All the laws in your constitution are supposedly what's supposed to reflect in your country. And so if you change one of those, no shit, it's going to change a whole bunch of other things. It sets a whole new precedence. Well, I think you're going to try and suggest that the only one that can really make these kind of decisions, because we're limited. We can't see the full realm of our implications. But a god might. And a god would be able to set down these rules. So, you're going to argue probably that, oh, well, we've already set down these rules and we should follow them. Well, you know what? I don't really see that. I don't really agree with that. So, in ending, I'll just say this. Justice goes far beyond the realm of just making laws. It is an entire country. It is economics. It is lawmaking. But it is also just how it treats its people. That is justice. Basically, I know where you're going with it. I know what you're going to do. I know the arguments that you're going to pose. So that maybe by me calling you out, you're going to pose something else, or you're going to actually reform whatever arguments you have, or maybe I'm just completely wrong, and maybe, hopefully, this inspires you to make some sort of natural law argument. Either way, this is an issue that we don't really get to touch very much on YouTube, so let's get into it. It might be fun.